Join me as I take you behind the scenes and show you how I got ready for Mardi Gras this year. I'll be sharing creative decorating ideas as I infuse my home with festive flair, sprinkle in some fun DIYs, and wrap it all up with a mouth-watering recipe that'll make your taste buds dance. So make sure to stay tuned. Hi, thanks for clicking on today's video. I am so excited to share some of our Mardi Gras fun. We had such a good time, and so much of that goes into the planning, the decorating, and so much more. So let's go ahead and hop right in with 2 DIYs that we're gonna need to decorate my living room. We're gonna begin with my attempt to create mini New Orleans street lamps. And while I haven't had the pleasure of visiting in person, I've always found the pictures of the street lights and architectural details in New Orleans absolutely enthralling. So let's see if we can bring a little bit of that magic into my decor. First, let's discuss what I used to create this DIY. I had these candle holders from Dollar Tree. I got them for Halloween this year, but I didn't feel like they held candles well enough up for my liking. So I thought repurposing it would be a great idea. I also have some mini lanterns that I got from my local Dollar Tree, as well as a small dowel and a couple wooden beads. We are going to begin by centering the candlestick on the bottom of my lantern and drawing a circle around it so I know exactly where I want this candlestick to be placed. It would be easy to just hot glue the lantern to the candlestick, but I wanted to be sure to be able to switch the lights on and off, as well as change the batteries when needed. So I decided to do something a little different. I went around the circle I drew with hot glue, filling all the other spaces in except for that center circle, thus creating an absent space for the lantern to fit in. I did this so that the lantern can sit on top of the candlestick holder without falling off or needing to be directly glued to it. After I finished my glue, it was time to add the next accent. And I want to be really transparent. I do not know what the purpose of these little arms are, but I've seen them on so many pictures of the street posts that I wanted to add them to my street post. And I'm going to be using mine to hold up little Mardi Gras beads. Anyways, to do this, I cut off 1-inch piece of small dowel. I did sand the ends to make sure that gluing them would be easier. And then I added a small wooden bead to the end of my dowel and glued the other part to the candlestick holder itself. Just a tip, I glued these little arms on with hot glue, but if I was doing this over again, I would definitely be using something like a Gorilla Glue because I feel like it would just have a better hold. While mine stayed together just fine, I could see where next year I'm probably going to have to repair these and glue them back together. After that, I painted them black so that everything matched, and I also painted the hot glue that we added earlier black so that it wouldn't stand out too much either. For my last accent to these street posts, I decided to add mini Mardi Gras necklaces to hang off the lights. To make them, I used mini pearl ribbon that I had left over from my wedding over 20 years ago. And I simply cut off little pieces and painted them in traditional Mardi Gras colors and hot glued the ends together to finish off my little necklaces. I was pretty thrilled with how this turned out. And if you want to add more to your street lights, you can also add the street names, like the street signs themselves, to the posts. But I decided to leave those out because I felt like it would make it too tempting for my cats to play with. Once I added my necklaces, I felt like my street posts were done, and I'm really excited with how they turned out. They're simple, but I feel like they add just the right accent, and I'd love to hear what you think of this DIY in the comments down below. Before we get started with the next DIY, I just want to take a second to introduce myself in case you're new here today. Hi, I'm Jackie, and this is my channel, My Magical Home, where I like to share all kinds of creative homemaking ideas with you. Some days we're working on holiday and seasonal content like today. Other days it's movie nights. Sometimes we're organizing and cleaning, or just fixing things around the house, or even cooking up a really yummy meal. There are so many things that you will find here on my channel, and I hope that you'll consider hitting that subscription button down below. The second DIY I have to share with you is super simple, but I feel like it really helps to create the space in the entertainment area. So it's time to make some Mardi Gras bouquets. Now, when I mentioned that these bouquets were going to be simple, I really meant it. We're going to be taking 2 Mardi Gras leaf branches that I picked up from Michael's this year, and I'm going to fan them out and mix them with 1 white peony flower. Now, I did decide to take a little Mardi Gras garland that I picked up from Dollar Tree a couple years ago, and I twirled it around the base of the stems and then pushed it into the bottom of the vases so that it would keep that vibrant energy flowing throughout the whole bouquet. And to finish it off, I decided to add a couple Mardi Gras necklaces around the peony so that it would just kind of drape around, and voila! My bouquets are ready to go. Okay, so our first 2 DIYs are done. It is time to take them into the living room and get started on the decor. But I wanted to take a second to ask you guys, what did you do this Mardi Gras? Do you celebrate Mardi Gras? I would love to hear all about it in the comments below, and don't forget to say hi. One of my favorite pieces of my Mardi Gras decor is the ornate mask that I just added to my entertainment area. My dad actually made it from clay many years ago before he passed away, and he never had a chance to paint it. So a few years back, I decided to add some Mardi Gras flair, and I just feel like every year when I put it up, it's a little hello from my dad, and it is such a unique piece that it just brings me oodles and oodles of joy. These lights are technically Halloween lights as they are orange, purple, and green, but I felt like the orange was close enough to gold that they would work for the Mardi Gras decor, but I'd love to hear what you think of them down below. I'm now adding dismantled Mardi Gras necklaces that I've added to one another to create this fun accent for the window area. I decided to do this years ago, and I'm still so happy with how a couple dollars can make such an impact. If you're curious where I got my decor items, I'll try to link as many below in the comments, but most of my items are admittedly DIY or one of a kind, but many of the garlands themselves are available at Michael's or Amazon. I'm also adding a sign and some bows that I got from Dollar Tree to finish off the look. Before I can start in the kitchen, I need to make a couple more bouquets. We're going to make 2 for above the pantry and 1 for over in my bar cart, so let's go ahead and get started. The first bouquet that we're going to be making here, and yes, it feels a little silly to call it a bouquet because it is so simple, is for my bar cart, and I just tried to keep it really colorful with one of the Mardi Gras branches and just draping beads throughout it. As I mentioned earlier, the other 2 I'm making are going on top of my pantry, and I'm just trying to bring in some of those same vibes I added to the TV area with the colorful branches and white peonies. I think they turned out really nice and are a great way to continue the vibrant vibes of the living room into the kitchen, but I'd love to hear your opinion, so make sure to comment down below as well as to say hi. Now that my bouquets are done, it's time to start with decorating the top of my pantry. I really enjoy decorating the top of my pantry area here, and I thought it would be fun to just give my little owl and my crow a little bit of Mardi Gras flair too. also decided to take some of those beads and drape them around the little DIY tree I keep up here, and I'm actually really pleased with how the top of the pantry turned out this year. Let me know what you think down below. Time to spruce up my chandelier, and I'm starting by adding a beaded garland that I picked up from Michael's, as well as 2 of the Dollar Tree boas that I also used in the living room window area. And I followed this up with a set of Mardi Gras beads around each of the lights. I didn't feel like this was too crazy, but I felt like it just really helped to carry that energy through the house. In my coffee bar area, I decided to do just a quick pickup, and I added one of those street light posts that we made in the beginning, as well as a mask and some beads in front of the syrups. I was trying to keep it pretty simple because this area has to get wiped down constantly, but I wanted to still have a little bit of flair. Okay, I got a level. This next area was super frustrating. Normally it is so easy to make into a magical space that just adds to the decor. This time it just wasn't working. And I'm really unhappy with the area. Nothing seemed to sit right. And I definitely feel like it's going to need some more items next year to make the space work better. But that being said, it is what it is. I did end up adjusting it off camera a little bit so that it looked a little bit better, but I think this area is just a wash this year. It's time for me to head back into the living room and decorate my bar cart, where I'm going to head and bring in that arrangement that we made earlier, as well as the DIY sign I made a few years ago, and another boa just for fun. And it's time to decorate the couch. I have 4 pillow covers that I picked up off Amazon, and I just loved the color of them as well as the texture, and I'm really happy that I picked them up. I will have them linked down below in case you would like to get some for yourself. Okay, I have one more DIY to share with you guys. My decor's pretty much all done, but this one area needed something a little bit special, so let's go ahead and head to the kitchen and get crafting. For this DIY, you need a small vase and a cup that's of similar height. And you simply put the cup inside the vase and layer your Mardi Gras beads around the outer layer. I've seen this technique used for many holidays with different fillers, and I just thought it would add a lot to the Mardi Gras decor this year. As you can see, my fuzzy assistants are trying to run off with my necklaces. The struggle is real, guys. Now I just need to set this up in the window area that's in between my kitchen and living room. I also have a couple more flowers in little purple vases that I have from Dollar Tree. And I just love to put flowers here because I feel like it just brings in such a great vibe when you walk in the house and see fresh flowers. The house is completely ready, but don't go away yet because it is time to head back to the kitchen and we are going to make a delicious New Orleans inspired recipe. Bananas Foster, of course, with homemade ice cream. So this recipe actually comes from Ben & Jerry's, and I just love them. I love their company and everything they stand for. So I thought their ice cream would be fun to try. And I will have the original recipe linked below in case you want to check it out yourself. I did make one major change to this recipe though. It bothered me that the eggs weren't tempered. It felt like a salmonella nightmare. So instead of just mixing the ingredients and then throwing it into the ice cream machine, we're gonna head to the stove first. As I'm sure you could see, I started with 2 eggs and whipped those up. And then I added 2 cups of cream, 1 cup of milk, 3/4 cup of sugar, and I added that slowly. And then at the very end, when I was done on the stove, I added 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Let's take a second to talk about the cooking process that's going on here. As you saw, I mixed all of my ingredients other than the vanilla up into my saucepan, turned it on low, and I let it get hot enough that it was just below a simmer. This took somewhere between 5 to 8 minutes, and you don't want to let your milk get to an actual boil because then it lowers the nutritional value of your milk, plus it can lead to curdling, and no one wants that. So I just felt like this might help to temper the eggs that were inside a little bit more than just putting those raw ingredients directly into the ice cream maker. Once I felt my milk mixture had finished up, I turned the heat off and added my vanilla extract, and then I headed to the ice cream maker to strain it inside. After we finish straining our ice cream mixture, it is as simple as turning on the machine. Well, that and trying not to break into it early. And as you can see, my sweet Anthony is also super curious about this creation and how it's going to turn out. Once my ice cream had settled in my machine, I scooped it into the containers, and I ended up getting about 3 small containers of ice cream, which seemed serendipitous for my family of 3. I can't wait to try this again, maybe add some fresh strawberries or blueberries to it. Either way, this is definitely a recipe to check out, and I will have it linked down below. And it's time to turn our attention to our ice cream topper. The Bananas Foster, of course. Now, this New Orleans classic is simple, but gives such decadence to your ice cream, and I really hope that you like it. I'm starting out by slicing 2 bananas. Some people do larger banana chunks, but for me, I like to keep it bite-sized. Now we are going to melt 3 tablespoons of butter into our pan, and then we are going to add 3 tablespoons of brown sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, some people add more pie spices to their mixture, but I feel like the cinnamon alone does just fine. Then we're going to mix this in until everything is nicely incorporated together, and then we're going to add our sliced bananas. I let this cook for a minute or 2. Once the bananas start to soften, I add 2 tablespoons of rum to the mixture, and this really helps to caramelize the bananas. Okay, now for the fun part, and I, in full transparency, didn't really pull this off, but I wanted to show you how it's done so that you can do it yourself because it looks so impressive when done correctly. Once everything is cooked and the banana scent is just wafting through the air, it is time to remove the mixture from the stove, and you are going to add 1/4 cup of rum to your bananas, and then you're gonna light it on fire. This is so impressive to see, and the fire will help to burn off any alcohol inside, as well as to finish a little extra caramelization deliciousness. So mine didn't catch fire right because I tried to skimp on the rum. It's a bummer, but it still tasted divine. And now it's time to add this on top of our homemade ice cream and enjoy. I don't have any actual footage of me eating it. I am sorry, we all ate it faster than I could get any footage done. But I really hope that you guys will try this out, and don't forget to let me know what you think. Oh my goodness, didn't that Bananas Foster look amazing? I really hope that you get the chance to try this at home, especially because it's something that is easy to make with ingredients that you probably have lying around. So if you do, definitely tag me on Instagram. I would love to hear what you think. Before I head out, I am going to share a couple pictures of our Mardi Gras fun this year. We actually had a murder mystery party, and it was absolutely amazing. I will have it linked down below if that's something you guys would like to try in the future. I do recommend it. It was a lot of fun.